I'm Barry Gough, biographer and historian. I'm pleased to read from my book, Possessing Meares Island, recently published. Moses Martin, chief counselor of the Clayoquot, and already introduced as the leading voice championing the Meares Island case for recognition of Aboriginal rights and title, declared Meares Island a tribal park. Perhaps a little unusually in the circumstances, this tribal park was the term he used to declare Clayoquot territorial rights on Meares. The formal declaration, dated that same April the 21st, 1984, had been signed by two hereditary chiefs, George Frank and Alex Frank Sr., and carried the name of the Clayoquot Band Council. We would permit access to the island for recreational purposes, says the declaration. It also included the demand that outsiders recognize our land claims and that there be no resources removed from Meares Island, excluding watershed, by which he meant water to supply Tofino and the worried inhabitants of that town. The Western Canada Wilderness Committee, headquartered in Vancouver, circulated the declaration widely, accompanying it with a request for donations to the committee, tax deductible, of course. In consequence, wider audiences were now being informed of the process, and special interest groups defending landscapes, bird life, natural wildlife, watersheds, hunting rights, and much more came forward in support. The partnership of the Friends of Clayoquot Sound and the Clayoquot, that is to say the former Clayoquot, now took action on Meares Island. They laid out a trail from Heelboom, or Siasquest Bay, on the far side of Mount Colnett, as seen from Tofino, to the forest giant, one of the oldest and biggest trees, measuring a nearly unimaginable 15 meters in diameter. Others took initiatives of a different sort. Joe and Carl Martin revived tradition and started carving canoes at Siasquest Bay. A nastier turn of events came when eco-warrior militants took independent and unauthorized action. They began driving big metal spikes into trees on Meares, an act of protest with results sure to impede loggers, damage equipment, destroy chainsaws, and injure operators. Tensions continued to rise. On September 11th of that year, Clayoquot and Ahousaht, backed by other representatives of the recently established Nuu-chah-nulth Tribal Council, staged a protest at the legislative buildings in Victoria. 1,200 people gathered there. So sentiment against the company was rising to a fever pitch, and the details are naturally always under the heading of Save Meares Island. But to bring this story to a conclusion, exactly a month after the Save Meares protest in Victoria, on the 21st of November, same year, 1984, the loggers with their chainsaws, plus officials from Macmillan Bloedel, approached Heelboom Bay in the company workboat, the Kennedy Queen. A flotilla of small boats greeted them, an unarmed native force of resistance. A violent encounter was expected. The Mounties were there in what they regarded as sufficient force, but there was no armed resistance, no worry or intention of violence on the native side, only a declaration of positions based on rights proclaimed in the declaration of the tribal park. The Ahousaht and Clayoquot had no quarrel with the loggers, but they did want to preserve the forest. Moses Martin told the loggers that this was his people's garden and they were not to cut trees. And thus the matter entered the phases of the courts, and it went on through to a case that went through to 1993, when an injunction for 5 years, since renewed several times, put a stop to the Meares Island clear-cutting logging possibility.